So, BFDIA 22 officially released yesterday. And while I enjoyed the episode first watch, I can't help but point out a lot of flaws that make this new episode hard for me to enjoy. But, before we get down to the nitty-gritty, I want to point out the positives. What? Just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's all bad. Boy, I love this episode's humor this time around. It was genuinely so funny. The scenes playing were especially my favorite. Not much else to say surprisingly. My favorite part was probably with the WTF guys. Wow, was the animation at its peak this time around. The scenes were so cinematic and polished in this episode, especially closer to the end. Once again, the scenes playing are some of my favorites. You really can't tell how much effort they put into modern episodes these days. Wow, I was shocked by how good it was. Now, I say it's about time we move on to You might be thinking, no local, didn't you just praise how funny the episode was? Are you stupid? While I did find this episode humorous, that's the problem, it was just funny, and nothing else. There was so many comedic moments that it felt like all the episodes was a massive comedy show. To the point where all of the supposedly serious moments felt shoved in without any substance to them. This episode is hard carried by comedy, and if not for said comedy, it might have been a bottom 3 for me. I made an analogy for this. This episode is like adding a gallon of sugar into the bowl, then adding a teaspoon of salt and expecting it to be spicy. Because of the salt, all of the comedy, while funny, can't make the episode good enough to make it worth all of this humor.
Get in the hole.
Is it wrong for me to say I don't like Woody being recovered? The scene was very cinematic, but all he did was act as an unnecessary hole filling. Of course, I'm happy he's back nonetheless, but if all they were gonna do was make him watch lava for 35 minutes and then try to get saved by Pim, what was the point of bringing him back? He added pretty much nothing but 30-second hype, and did nothing for the rest of the episode. This can also tie into the unbalanced comedic aspect of this episode, as Woody just felt like a weird shove-in for some more jokes and laughs, and another way to put Pin in the spotlight. Speaking of which,
Stop hallucinating, Pin.
what is up with Pin? Firstly, her destroying Dream Island again and calling herself the main character came out of nowhere. Before you say it's in character for BFDIA Pin, at this point, it really isn't. She just learned the value of friendship and connection through Leafy and is putting it in practice with Coiny. I understand she's arrogant still, but she isn't like how she was a couple of episodes ago. So, her lashing out on the WTFERS and trying to shred Dream Island again calling herself important just makes zero sense whatsoever. Her interaction with Ice Cube shows she for some reason still isn't over the swing incident, which I don't get, especially after her perspective of her friends changed in BFDIA 21. This even shows when trying to save Woody. She learned from her past mistakes, yet only applies it to one person. At least her relationship with Coiny is up and running again. They did have some good moments together in the beginning, but Why? No matter how many videos, posts, heck, even TikToks I see of this scene, I still don't get it. What was the point of this scene? What does it even imply? Coiny sees Pin dead in lobby and looks shocked and tries to grab her. What is the significance of this scene that they had to give it its own devoted screen time? They could have done an impactful scene with anyone else, but even after their center conflict in BFDIA 19&20, them making up in BFDIA 21, and having the beginning of BFDIA 22, they still need scenes like this. Coiny and Pin's arc is essentially over. So not only do I not understand why this scene is considered important, I also don't understand why it even needed to exist or at least be between Coiny and Pin out of everyone. I get they're the main duo of BFDIA, but they are not the only characters. They can have important moments like these.
Okay, see ya, I guess.
And it's working. Let's get crushing.
I love Book. I love Book in every season she's in, even BFDIA, but why are they doing this to her? She wasn't very significant this episode, which already hurt her chances of staying. Her haters say she is boring and adds nothing of value to the show, and after this episode, while I still love BFDIA Book, I understand what they mean. Once again, her most impactful moment of the episode was dying, with a drill involved. This is the fourth time this has happened, and it's still her best moment of BFDIA 22. That's not good at all. She is easily getting out next episode. While I don't think the writers hate Book, they are definitely doing her super dirty right now. She is adding nothing to the show to the point where her best moment is her dying.
Give her here! That leaf is mine!
I'm just gonna say it. I hate this plotline now. Not because it's a bad idea, but because it's started since BFDIA 12, yet they are still doing nothing with it. It's been 10 episodes, and the most we got was a couple of funny squabbles with Coiny, which sucks. This is such an interesting plotline. Needle realizes her true self-worth and plays for herself without anyone keeping her on a leash. Yet we've gotten nothing, besides Needle seeming more confident. Nothing. I still think Needle is safe, but it's not because of her interesting dry story. People just hate Book and Coiny more. This plotline is so wasted and dry. I wouldn't be surprised if they find a way to drop it before BFDIA ends. Since this section is about Needle, why didn't they do anything with her and Tennis Ball's contract? The deal said he had to help her with whatever she demanded, and do as she says, yet it was only applied around 3 times in 40 minutes. Do you see how much wasted potential that is? It was set up to be a game breaker in BFDIA 20, and it was only used a couple of insignificant times in this episode.
So I have to take over. Tennis Ball won immunity, so Book, Coiny, and Needle are up for elimination. Vote who you want to eliminate. See ya!
Why is it 40 minutes? Why? What happened in this episode to make it worth being the third longest episode in BFDI history, not counting BFDIA 5? The challenge was incredibly dragged out, to the point where I wish they got something else on the spin wheel. The contest was just super boring to the point it was my least favorite part of the episode. And since the competition is the whole point and takes up 90% of the episode, that says a lot. Leafy was actually pretty fun this episode, but she is automatically dragged down because of the staleness of this episode as a whole. It felt like I was just watching BFDIA 6 if it was more filler than it already is. I was very disappointed with the challenge, as it, combined with everything else in the episode, did not warrant a 40-minute long watch.
It all drips down. Ring around the farm trunk.
This episode is certainly interesting. It felt like a bunch of filler, and it ruined a lot of the characters' leading positives for me. It was very boring, the challenge was dragged for no reason, and it is carried by its overdone comedy. The only aspect I find flawless is the animation, and animation usually has the most flaws. I don't see myself warming up to this episode like I did with Teapot 13. Overall, this episode is well, that's pretty much everything. Thank you for sticking around and listening to my rant on why I don't like BFDIA 22. Not to be cheesy, but why not consider subscribing and commenting? It helps me get into your BFDI-filled algorithm, while helping me push out these essays to you. By the way, if you want to see BFDI-related topics more frequently, I post much more on Reddit. I will link my profile in the description. Thanks for watching.